Before I begin this video, I wanted to make a quick explanation because this is a lot different from what I normally do. Usually, I make weekly predictions videos because there are games played every week. But in the case of the Super Bowl, there's a 2-week gap, and I don't really want to make my Super Bowl prediction video an entire week and a half before the game is played. So, to fill the gap, I thought I'd make a video going over my thoughts and takes and opinions from before the start of the regular season, and seeing which ones still hold up and which ones completely fell apart. And I'll just say right now, if you're entertained by bad takes, you're gonna want to stick around, because there's plenty of them. I want to start by taking a look at this video of mine. It's a video that not many people watched, as you'd expect, since it was one of my first videos. But basically, I was making a tier list ranking every team based on how many wins I thought they would have. Here's the completed tier list, and I'm sure you can see right away there's plenty of things that stand out. First off, the 49ers did not come even close to 14 wins, but although the 49ers were terrible, I don't think that's something that many people saw coming. So I'm not going to hold that against me too much. What I will hold against me, on the other hand, is how high I had the Cowboys on this tier list. I know Dak Prescott got hurt, but this team was dog shit long before then. And hell, they actually had a better record with Cooper Rush at quarterback than they did with Dak, which I think is pretty funny. But man, thinking that they would win the East and be one of the best teams in the league is pretty embarrassing. Another team I was way too high on was the Bengals. I thought they were going to go 12-5 and be breathing down the Ravens' necks for the AFC North. And instead, they didn't even make the playoffs. I also thought the Vikings and Chargers would be bad, and I had the Buccaneers missing the playoffs entirely. And perhaps worst of all, I was really sleeping on the Bills. I thought they were going to get substantially worse, and I had them going 10-7. Yikes. However, there were still some good takes here. I had the Chiefs and Lions as the two best teams in the league, and that was mostly true. Record-wise in the Chiefs' case, and in the regular season for the Lions. I thought the Packers would make a step, which they did for the most part, and I was pretty much spot on with the Rams. In that video, I said that they would be around 9-8 or 10-7, and in reality, they were a 10-7 team that probably deserved to be 9-8 at best. So I really hit the nail on its head there. There's more that I could go over here, but I don't want to be here all day. Let's just move on to this. This is a little notebook I made to brainstorm video ideas before the season. In fact, I wrote these down in this notebook before I had even made this channel yet. There's not much to look at the top of the page. I had just written down some basic ideas that I could make videos on. The bottom of the page is what I really want to pay attention to here. This never came to fruition, but I originally intended to make some preview videos on certain teams that I thought would be interesting to watch. And as you can see right here, among those teams I had the Commanders, with the question in parentheses, are they underrated? And boy do I feel smart for that now. Although, full transparency, you might be thinking, wait a second, that really contrasts with where you placed them on that tier list from a second ago. And to that I say, yeah, it does. If I had to guess what happened there, it would have a lot to do with the fact that the notes I'd quickly jotted down here were from July 7th. And 2 months later, when I made that tier list video, I had probably just forgotten everything I was thinking at the time. But if you'd asked me back in July how I thought the Commanders would do, I probably would have said that if Jaden Daniels was good, they could have won 8 or 9 games and been a solid team. Obviously, I didn't think they'd go 12-5 and make the NFC Championship game, but I thought they could be solid. Now on the flip side, I also have the Bengals here once again. My thought process was that they went 9-8 in 2023 after losing Burrow for a significant chunk of the year, so I thought they would simply return to form with Burrow in the lineup, but instead the defense completely fell apart, just like this take. Now, to finish off this video, I want to quickly look at my playoff predictions that I made before the season, and obviously, when it comes to playoff predictions being made before a single snap of the regular season, they were bound to be inaccurate. I was just doing that for fun. But oh boy was I off. I want to pull up this picture right here. This picture was taken August 31st, and I was actually using my own hand-drawn team logos for this. Which, on a side note, I do use team logos a lot in my videos, especially my predictions videos, and I've thought about the idea of using my own drawings of the logos instead to sort of personalize my content in a way. So let me know if that'd be interesting, because I think it'd be pretty cool. But anyways, back to the picture. Let's break down what we're looking at here. I'm going to draw a line down the middle, and on the left side we have the AFC playoff picture, while on the right we have the NFC playoff picture. On the leftmost column on both sides, with 4 teams, we have the division winners in descending order, so the 1 seed at the top and the 4 seed at the bottom. Then on the rightmost columns, with 3 teams each, we have the wildcard teams, also in descending order, so the 5 seed at the top and the 7 seed at the bottom. I'm sure you can already see just how terrible this prediction was. There were pretty much only 2 things that I got right, aside from the obvious. I got the 1 seeds in both conferences with the Lions and the Chiefs, and I predicted the Steelers getting a wildcard playoff spot. But that's about where the positives end. I'll start with the most glaring thing here. The Dolphins winning the AFC East? What was I smoking? I know they lost Tua for a chunk of the year, but let's be real, they weren't even that good with Tua. And having them win the division over the Bills speaks for itself. Of course, I've also got the Bengals with the top wildcard spot, but we already talked about them. And I had the Texans winning their division, but I thought they would be more around 11-6 or 12-5, which obviously didn't happen. Now let's head over to the NFC, where it somehow gets worse. At least in the AFC, I got 3 out of 4 division winners right. I only got 1 in the NFC, with the worst of the bunch being the Cowboys winning the East over the Eagles. I also had the 49ers winning the West, but again, I think that's something everybody expected to happen. I had the Falcons winning the South, which I think a lot of people thought would happen before the year, but I had the Buccaneers missing the playoffs entirely, and that doesn't look too good. I seriously don't know how I thought the Eagles wouldn't win the NFC East. I mean, I know it was hard to believe in them because they completely collapsed at the end of last year, but we're taking a very good team and adding Saquon Barkley to it, and I didn't think they would be Super Bowl contenders? That feels a bit silly. Now as for the games themselves, this is how I thought the playoffs would go. On the left are the teams I had winning, and on the right are the teams I had losing. Now it's kind of funny that I got Ravens Steelers right, but yeah, the Texans beating the Bills, the Bengals and Dolphins even being there, and the Cowboys beating the Eagles. Definitely some of the worst takes here. Onto the divisional round, I actually had the Bengals upsetting the Chiefs, which historically isn't a bad take, but the Bengals didn't even make the playoffs, so yeah. All in all, I wound up having a Bengals at Ravens AFC Championship game, and a rematch of 49ers Lions in the NFC Championship game. And yes, I had the Bengals and the Lions playing in the Super Bowl, which would have been an awesome Super Bowl because I always love rooting for teams that I've never won. So having 2 teams in the Super Bowl that I've never won before would be great because no matter what, it's a good outcome. But yeah, it was definitely not to be. In fact, it wasn't even close. But anyways, that's about all I have for this video. I hope it was interesting, and I'll have my regularly scheduled prediction video next week. If you enjoyed, remember to like and subscribe.